We've been praying together and just depending on God for our strength and just holding on to the love that we shared with them both.
She remembers her daughter, Connie Jackson, for her big heart.
She loved everybody. She just had a soft spot for people in general.
And her granddaughter, 11-year-old Ariel Davis, for her big smile.
I made a song for her, Irie Pyrie, you better not be sorry. And she would just bust out laughing, and her smile was just so radiant and infectious.
Some stories don't begin with sirens or flashing lights. They begin quietly, with a mother loving her children, doing her best, and trying to hold her family together, even when everything inside her is breaking. This is one of those stories. On December 12th, 2025, a woman named Connie Jackson and her 11-year-old daughter, Ariel Davis, were killed inside their own home in Stone Mountain, Georgia. Early reports suggested that Connie had taken her own life and that of her daughter, while also injuring her boyfriend. This version of events did not sit well with those who knew Connie. Family, friends, and neighbors found it hard to believe that a woman like her, kind, loving, and full of life, would ever do something like that. As the investigation continued, the truth slowly came to light. Connie did not do this. But before we talk about how their lives ended, it is important to talk about who they were while they were still here. Connie Jackson was a bright, warm, and joyful presence to everyone who knew her. Her mother described her as someone who could make anyone laugh, and that she had a heart full of kindness, always seeing the good in people, even when they treated her poorly. Connie was known for her cheerful personality, her ability to lift the spirits of those around her, and the way she could make every interaction feel special. Friends, family, and co-workers remember her as someone sweet, genuine, and full of life. A person whose energy left a lasting impression. Connie was the mother to 2 children, her 11-year-old daughter Ariel and her 6-month-old son Tristan. She was deeply committed to her role as a mother, always putting their needs before her own. Ariel, full of life and energy, was the kind of child who brightened up any room she entered. Connie made sure to nurture her daughter's playful spirit and guide her through the ups and downs of growing up. With Tristan, still a baby, Connie was his whole world. His comfort, his warmth, his safety. Even as Connie faced the challenges in her personal life, her children were her anchor, and she gave them her love and attention without hesitation. She worked hard to create a home filled with love, even if the circumstances around her were far from ideal. In every way, Connie was a mother who truly cared and would have done anything for her kids. But behind the smiles and laughter, Connie was struggling. She lived with 41-year-old Roland Suku, her boyfriend at the time, though it is not known how long they had been together. Together, they shared a 6-month-old son, Tristan, while Connie also cared for her 11-year-old daughter, Ariel, from a previous relationship. On the surface, it looked like a typical family, a home with 2 young children and the routines of everyday life. But behind closed doors, the reality was much darker, and the home that should have been a place of safety was anything but. According to Connie's mother, Artelar, her daughter endured ongoing verbal and emotional abuse from Suku. He may not have left visible marks, but the stress, fear, and manipulation weighed heavily on Connie. She thought about leaving many times, searching for a way to protect herself and her children from the growing danger in her home. Shortly before the tragedy, Connie reached a breaking point. She FaceTimed her mother in what seemed like a casual call, but her mother immediately sensed the seriousness in her voice. During the conversation, Connie revealed that she had finally made the difficult decision to leave the relationship. She wanted to get away from a situation that had grown dangerous and unpredictable, a situation she could no longer endure. It was a choice filled with fear, uncertainty, and the hope for a safer future. But leaving was never simple. Just 6 months earlier, Connie and Roland had welcomed their first child together, Tristan. She wanted to keep her family together, and she hoped things might improve. The emotional weight of that decision, staying or leaving, was one she carried quietly, privately, like so many victims of abuse do. In the early hours of December 12th, 2025, the hope for safety that Connie and her family clung to was shattered by an unimaginable tragedy. Around 1:15 a.m., police responded to a call at the Golden Gate Luxury Townhomes in Stone Mountain. Upon entering the home, they were confronted with a scene of horror. An 11-year-old girl had been shot and killed, and nearby lay a woman, also fatally wounded. A man was found in the same space, critically injured but still alive, and he was immediately rushed to a local hospital. An infant was also found in the home, but he was unharmed.
This morning for a shooting. When they arrived, they found a girl shot and killed. They also found another woman shot and killed, and a man shot, but he survived. He is in the hospital with serious injuries. So I want to replay that again. So when police got to the scene, it was a very bloody, a very graphic scene. A young girl who was 10 years old or older, we do know she's a young girl, she was shot and killed. A woman was found in the apartment as well, shot and killed, and a man shot, but he survived. He is in the hospital with serious injuries. And once again, we do know that this is a domestic situation, but we are still waiting to find out the relationship of the victims. We don't know if it was a daughter, mother, father, or cousins, aunt, uncle. We do not know that information just yet. I did reach out to police. They say they are still investigating those terms of conditions right now. But once again, I spoke with neighbors, and they tell me that this is shocking and tragic.
I honestly think that's crazy. I don't even understand how someone can do that. I pray for the family, but yeah, that's wow.
The victims were later identified as Connie Jackson and her daughter, Ariel Davis. The man who survived, 41-year-old Roland Suku, was Connie's boyfriend. The baby was 6 months old, Tristan, the son of Connie and Roland. He was placed in the care of his grandmother. Initially, police believed this had been a murder-suicide, suggesting that Connie herself had carried out the shootings before taking her own life. This explanation shocked and confused everyone who knew her. It didn't match the person they remembered, a kind, caring, and loving woman who devoted herself to her children and family. They found it impossible to imagine Connie ever causing harm to her child, herself, or anyone else. The story simply felt wrong, and it was hard for those who loved her to accept. As investigators dug deeper, the truth began to emerge, slowly but painfully. This was not a mother who suddenly lost control or snapped in a moment of rage. This was not a tragic accident of a woman in despair. This was a woman who was trying to leave a dangerous situation. What happened was a brutal act of domestic violence carried out by Roland, her boyfriend, the very man who had shared a home with Connie and her children. Roland Suku was taken into custody and later formally charged with 2 counts of malice murder, one for Connie and one for Ariel. The deaths of Connie and Ariel sent shockwaves through the Stone Mountain community. Family, friends, and neighbors struggled to understand how something so horrific could happen in a place they considered safe. People remembered Connie as sweet, caring, and endlessly generous. Ariel was remembered as bright, joyful, and full of promise. Messages poured in on social media. Friends wrote about laughing together, shared memories from school, and expressed disbelief. Their story resonated beyond their family. It affected everyone who knew them.
Connie Jackson's mother, Arteller, says her daughter was bubbly, even on her bad days.
She could make just about anybody laugh.
6 months ago, Connie Jackson and Roland Suko had their first child together, Tristan. They lived together in Stone Mountain with Connie's 11-year-old daughter, Ariel.
I named her. She called me Mom.
Ariel died Friday morning, shot and killed along with her mother. Police charging Suko with 2 counts of malice murder. DeKalb County Police say Suko was also seriously injured by gunfire and is receiving treatment at a local hospital.
The more time that they spent together, it started getting out of hand. Things started getting out of hand.
She says although her daughter never accused him of physical abuse, the verbal and emotional torment caused her to consider leaving several times. Shortly before she was killed, Arteller says Connie FaceTimed her.
I knew that she was serious. I knew that she had finally made up her mind to get out, to get away.
She died before she could leave. All the while, baby Tristan was in the home when police say his father shot and killed his mother. Now, he is safely in his grandmother's care.
To help support the family during this incredibly difficult time, a GoFundMe fundraiser has been set up. The goal is to raise funds to cover the burial expenses, as well as to provide care for her 6-month-old son. Connie tried to leave. She deserved safety. Ariel deserved a childhood filled with love and security. Neither got the chance to live the lives they should have had. Now they live on in memory, in grief, and in the hope that sharing their story might help someone else. That someone else might find the courage to leave before it's too late. That someone else's children might be spared the same fate. Connie Jackson and Ariel Davis may be gone, but their story reminds us of the fragile line between hope and tragedy, and the importance of protecting those we love while there is still time. Rest in peace, Connie Jackson and Ariel Davis.